Guys, it's a pleasure. I mean, really a pleasure to introduce you to Dave Buchanan tonight. The first time I met Dave was probably about 5 years ago at an event that was held in Florida. I was thinking it was Fort Lauderdale. I think he told me it was Clearwater, but I know we both know it was in Florida. And I remember the first time I met him, he just had me cracking up, laughing, talking about all the crazy ideas that self-proclaimed gurus in network marketing were spreading as best business practices. And he's been around long enough, and I've been around long enough. We both knew it was just wasn't true. But we were just sitting there laughing. He was on the front row. And since that time, we've worked together on a couple of different projects. And Dave has always been, for me, a dependable, solid voice of reason. That would be the best way I could describe him. He's a straight shooter. He can look behind the curtain. Uh, he understands what's going on with the rah-rah self-proclaimed gurus and what's been created. He can see beyond the drama. He understands that the anti-wisdom of the ages ideas that have been spread and the mess that it's created uh, over the past couple of months. I've watched Dave consistently do the work, create a solid business, rising as high as number 10 in the top affiliates in this company during the beta program. And he's doing this all while maintaining a job that he works third shift on. So he's up all night, but he's out there making it happen every week. And it's a real pleasure for me tonight to get to know Dave better and to hear his story and for you guys to hear. So Dave, let's just start off by maybe sharing with people anything you'd like to about your background, where you were born, raised, anything about your family or siblings or whatever you'd like to share, my friend.
All right. Well, first of all, Dale, thank you for having me on this evening and also allowing me to share with the team and for the team. But regarding my background, born in Eastern Illinois, I have three older brothers. I'm the youngest. My parents, one was an educator. My mother was an educator. My father worked for General Motors in a factory. Neither one are living today. But, you always talk about work ethic. And in our household, every one of us, when we were freshmen in high school, we had to have a paper route. And we had to have that paper route from freshman year to the year we graduated, till we were senior. And my mother specifically thought, that would teach us how to count money, how to be responsible, work ethic, things of that nature. And, when you got to go out there, and it's 10 degrees or below zero and throw a paper on somebody's doorstep and then go to school, right? There was some pleasure in that because I was able to earn some trips. But, again, it's just you got to get out there and do it. And everybody is depending on you to get their paper. So you can't wake up that morning and say, well, I don't want to do it. So you have to do it. Okay. So yeah, I definitely thank them for that. Fortunately, all my brothers are living. My wife, a lot of you met. Some of you met in Las Vegas. We've been married, Dale, 50 years.
Congrats.
50 years.
Congrats.
And we have 3 great kids and 7 grandkids. So, we've definitely been blessed. Definitely been blessed. So we don't take that for granted. And one thing I've learned along the way is somebody always has it better than you. Somebody always has it worse than you. And every day that I wake up in the morning, is a blessing. So I heard Les Brown say this, and I've used it ever since because it's so important to me. Is when you wake up in the morning, that's a great day. Just waking up, and if you don't think so, just try missing one.
Yeah.
Right? So be appreciative of that. Okay. But throughout, my early years, doing the paper route, graduated from high school, went to college in Kansas City area. And my freshman year, I was really introduced to network marketing of sorts. And my oldest brother was part of a company called Coscott, Dare to Be Great, with Glenn W. Turner.
Yeah, the one and only.
One and only. And I mean, they did it big time, and that was my first experience.
Wow.
And I just did it enough to rub the nickels together in college, right? So, but again, that was my first experience. And then while we were in college, also, we worked at a card distribution center, Hallmark Cards. And I worked that job all the way through college, and it was on second shift. It was a nighttime because I went to school during the day. So once I graduated from college, I ended up working for an insurance company, Allstate Insurance Company, and I worked in their regional office as a supervisor. And I did that for, I believe, like 3 years or so, something like that. And obviously it was a day job. So during that time, it was the same thing. When you get up in the morning, go to work, come home, eat, be with your family, and back to work. And it was dead end, right? But again, it was that same format of go to school, get a good job, right?
Go to work for a good
40-40-40 plan.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? Then you're told to work 40 years, retire on 40% of what you couldn't live off of before. How does that make sense?
That's right.
Right? So left Allstate, left that insurance company, and my neighbor at the time was working for a soft drink company. And so they were looking for somebody, needed a graduate, somebody had a graduate degree. And I went and applied and got the job, right? So it was the same scenario. We worked hard, but we played hard, right? But one thing that job taught me was, again, it wasn't one of the big two, it wasn't Coke or Pepsi, it was 7-Up. So we always had to out hustle the other two because they could just prop down money, right? And get what they wanted. So we had to hustle. We had to establish relationships with our buyers to be able to sustain what we needed to get done, right? Which was fun. So during that time, I had, probably I had 35 drivers, delivery drivers, and 12 to 15 salesmen or account managers, if you want to call them that. And I covered the eastern part of Missouri and western part of I'm sorry, the eastern part of Kansas and the western part of Missouri. Okay. So again, you have to solve a lot of issues. You have to solve a lot of problems. But again, it didn't matter if it was heavy rain, 10 feet of snow, you had to be out there and you had to make it happen because people were dependent on that product for their business and their business, right? So again, you have an appreciation of those individuals that work hard for their business because that's their livelihood.
That's right.
So again, you can't just throw up your hands and say, well, I'm not going to do that today. Because that's, that doesn't work. So at the end of that time, our middle son got a baseball scholarship down to St. Petersburg, Florida, college down there. So we're in Kansas City and he's down in St. Petersburg, Florida, playing baseball. And we go down when they have spring break in March, right? It's 80 degrees, 85 degrees, sunny, hot. And we turn around and have to come back to Kansas City, man, and it's 10 degrees. And I never will forget this day. We came back one day after that trip. And like I said, it was 10 degrees, snow on the ground, and it was that hard crunching snow. You walk and it's like, right? And I looked at my wife and I said, we got to be some fools to keep doing this. So that's when we put the plan in place to move from Kansas City down here to Florida. And it didn't happen right away. It took a couple of years because obviously I wanted to have a job when I came down here, right? And the job that I took when I came down here was in the food and beverage industry as a headhunter. And I was hiring manufacturing employees and operational managers and things of that nature. But that didn't last very long. I didn't like that. I didn't like the company. I didn't like the culture. And so I answered an ad in the paper, and it was for a family-owned business who had a cell phone company, a cell phone business. And at that time, walkie-talkie system with the cell phones was very, very popular.
Yeah.
Right. So I went to work for that company, and I was there for probably 3 or 4 years there. But during that time, a gentleman walked in the store to get a phone, and he asked me if I'd ever heard of a legal service company. And actually, I had the service at the time, but nobody ever talked to me about the business opportunity.
Mm.
And I said, man, I had the membership probably for 7 years. And when he told me about the business opportunity, what do you do? Went to a meeting, right? And sat through the presentation, and it just made sense. Rolled, and during that time period, you know, did pretty well. Did pretty well. Big key there was residual income, and that's when I learned about the benefit of residual income. And for those that don't know or have not heard, there's 2 definitions. Some of you have heard me say this before. One definition is the definition of poor, P-O-O-R. That's passing over opportunities repeatedly. And Dale, you opened my eyes years later, and you said, sometimes you got to say no to a lot of good ideas, say yes to the great ones. And that's always stuck with me. And the definition of rich is residual income creates happiness. And with that residual income, that's what we all should work for, because the 9 to 5 is not going to pay our bills, right? So you have to find something that's going to give you that residual income. So, and I stayed with that company, like I said, for a few years. And the same individual came to me later and told me about a travel business, travel company. And it was a startup, right? And in being in the right place at the right time, early stages. And guys, I can say anything to you right now. Where we are right now, I know we're going to talk about this a little bit, but where we are right now, man, you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. But if you just go out and get your nose bloody, knees scraped up, do the work, you will be rewarded for it. And that's what happened in that travel. Went out and did the work, but the timing was perfect. It was right during the time of travel going online, and the traditional brick and mortar was starting to go away. And I did very, very well in that travel company. Was fortunate enough to become a 6-figure earner in that company. A ring wearer, a ring earner, spoke from stage, right? So, it was very, very fortunate. But it wasn't all me, right? You have to, again, build those relationships, and you have to be a leader, plain and simple. And you can't anoint yourself a leader, right? You have to earn that.
That's right.
You have to earn that. And that's done through the respect of people that you lead. And we see that here every day with what Dale does. But with that travel company, trying to compete with the other major companies in the travel industry, they wanted to make sure we got too big for our britches, basically, is what happened. And the company was sued by the state of California. And once that happened, everything started to go into shambles. And like I said, I had been with that company for probably 7 years at that point. And it also matched up with 9/11 and when everybody lost a lot of their profit sharing, that whole situation. So that had a huge effect on my income and background. So I got out of the industry for quite a while and went back into work environment. And during that time, though, I still kind of kept my eye on different things and wanted to, like, just had that bug, right? It was something that just wouldn't go away. So when I was in that travel business, I went to a meeting, and at that meeting, a gentleman was promoting Jerry Durano Clark, and he and his tapes and training, right? So I purchased those tapes and training, and in that tape and training, these CDs, it was called "Standing on the Shoulder of Giants." And lo and behold, in that tape system was Dale Calvert. I'd never heard of Dale Calvert. And I'm telling you, when I heard Dale, I knew then, because Dale Calvert says it the way it is, right? What I say, Dale Calvert don't blow no smoke. He don't blow no smoke. And listening to Dale and the wisdom of the ages just made so much sense. And when I was in that legal service company, that was my first introduction to Jim Rome. And I ate Jim Rome, I slept Jim Rome, I breathed Jim Rome, right? And he is the one that changed me when it comes to personal development, right? I was fortunate enough to go see him, and I don't know if you can see this, but this is Jim Rome's signature.
Sure is. Sure is.
This was in December of 2002. And this is the notes that I took. And I just lived him. I like Dale, the network marketing CD that you talk about, memorize it. I had the thing memorized. Take charge of your life. All of it. I had all that stuff memorized. So it helped me mentally deal with all types of different situations and scenarios. Okay. So once I left, the MLM industry and caught up with you, standing on the shoulder giants, that led me to the MLM training club, which led me to programming your mind, right? Again, all these things dealing with personal development, and then led me to follow you continually, and until we met. And all this time we'd never met. We had never met and never spoken to each other. The first time we met was in a company, or spoke to each other, was in a company that had that little disc that businesses could utilize, right? And then Google blew that up.
That was about 5 years ago.
Right, that's about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep. And then from there, we went to the DNA and that scenario, and then to the lozenges, the DNA. And then IHub Global led us to IHub Global. So that's pretty much my track record.
Wow.
A lot of things, man.
Yeah. Well, what do you feel about, what are your thoughts about IHub, the IHub Meta opportunity? How are you feeling about what you're seeing?
And that IHub Meta is so strong. Back in the day, we used to say as strong as train smoke. But the opportunity it's simple and it's clean, right? Where can you go and offer a business something for free that will help them increase their customer traffic, as well as help them with the expenses of their business?
That's right.
Right. And look, if they're a restaurant, if they serve chicken at all of any kind, their prices have doubled and tripled. So where are they going to make that up? They can't raise their drink prices. They can't raise their restaurant, their food menu prices enough to cover it. So we're a blessing to those businesses.
That's right.
So with IHub Meta, look, you have to get out of your own way. There's a book by a woman, her name is Susan Jeffers. Do the fear. What is it?
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
That's right. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't want to do that, take 5 minutes and listen to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
That's right.
Right?
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
And you're gonna have the fear. Look, I still do today, right? Sometimes I'll be outside of business thinking, well, should I go in? Should I not go in? Should I go in? Should I not go in? Then I say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Go.
go, go. I'm standing in my own way, right? So, guys, this opportunity, you know, we haven't seen it before. Look, when you can 100 screens make 10K a month, what? Residual income. Get out. You don't have to get out of bed if you don't want to. You'd be crazy. But guys, it's here for all of us. For all of us. And it's only going to get better. But we got to take advantage of it now. You do it now, right? 100 screens, 200 screens. We already got 9 people on the leaderboard. What do you think is going to happen by the end of this year? They're going to look around and say, wait a minute, that Calvert team,
Dave, I got a bunch more questions, man. I want to let
all right,
people.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We don't need to get each other going on this. But talk about this team and the people that you've seen work with here the last 5 years. Because I know,
Oh, man.
yeah.
We've got some phenomenal people on this team from all walks of life, right? I'm nobody special. We've got quality people on this team, people with integrity and character.
That's right.
On this team. And if all you have to do is click on that participant tab on our screen right now. There's 80 some people on this call. And you go down the list and tell me how many of those names you recognize. But I tell you what, the leaders are on that, they're on this call and they're on the leaderboard. And there's no reason that everybody on this call could not be on this leaderboard.
That's right. Dave, this is the most important question I want to ask you, and then we'll let other people ask questions before we have to jump on this corporate call. Somebody's thinking about retirement. They're thinking about retiring from maybe a corporate job. And they're thinking about, well, I wonder if this could be what I'm looking for to help me get retired. Because there's people like that. What would you tell them?
Don't think twice. This is an opportunity that can retire you. And the reason I say that is, how many people retire? And they may retire from a job, okay, but go back and do something else just to stay busy, right? Well, you can do this part-time 2 days a week, 3 days a week, right? We have some people on this team that are doing that. So if your goal is to retire, I promise you your Social Security check ain't gonna do it. You don't want to be at Walmart. You don't want to be at Checkers or McDonald's, right? Again, it goes back to that residual income. If you put in a little effort now, just think if it's 50 screens, that's 5K a month. Residual. Why would you not take a chance on yourself to do that? I promise you, you'll be happier. Your family will be too.
Awesome. Awesome. Anything else you want to say before we jump off here? And take
Guys,
questions?
don't sleep on this. Do not sleep on this. This is too big and too important because there's history being made.
That's right.
And it's going to be made right now. But here's the true fact. It's going to happen with or without you. We want you with us. So get on the train.
Awesome. Dave, people want to contact you. What's the best way to do that?
Best way to contact me is my cell phone number is 727-423-8884, 727-423-8884, or you can email me at P as in Paul, A as in Apple, A as in Apple, A as in Apple, D as in Delta, at msn.com.
What if they want to talk to you about Melaleuca?
Call me. We'll talk about IHub Meta.
Okay, guys, we're going to end this. And then if y'all have questions, go and raise your hand. We ran a little bit long, but we got 14 minutes. Anything you need to ask Dave, want to ask Dave, we'll do that. Let us stop this part.